The woman knew that the beautician was her husband's mistress. Instead, she pretended to be unaware and went to the salon for a beauty treatment. She even purposely invited her husband along. Her husband calmly and unhurriedly walked in. Immediately after finishing her beauty treatment, the woman began to put on an act in front of the beautician. She told her husband that she was going on a business trip to the United States next Tuesday. She mentioned that there was a $50 million cross-border project in the US. The mistress, upon hearing such a large sum, was secretly delighted. She thought that all that money would eventually be hers. Little did she know that the woman was saying it purposely for her to hear, because the woman was laying a trap for both her husband and the mistress. Next, she produced $2 million for her husband. She instructed him to use it to fully pay off his brother's remaining mortgage. The man, seeing his wife so generous, was very pleased. Then the woman and the beautician exchanged a knowing, malicious glance. As soon as the woman left, the mistress couldn't resist calling the woman's husband. She planned to have a date at his home that night while the woman was gone. Her goal was to get him to give her a limited edition bag. The man also promised that once his wife left, he would immediately give the mistress the full $2 million. The mistress was overjoyed, thinking that no matter how much money the woman made, in the end, it would all be hers. Little did she know that every word and deed of hers was being monitored by the woman. The woman had also hired a detective to help her take revenge. Once the task was completed, she would reward the detective with $2 million as a fee. When the woman heard through the surveillance that her husband and the mistress were conspiring to murder her for her inheritance, she finalized a revenge plan to ruin her husband's reputation and force him to leave with nothing. She also planned to find a way to have the mistress imprisoned so that she would suffer in a bleak, joyless life. Immediately, as the first step, the woman satisfied every requirement of her husband's family. After hearing that her parents-in-law wanted to exchange their car for a luxury model, she agreed without hesitation. Her parents-in-law were very image-conscious people, and her husband was even more aware of that. Next, she drove the newly exchanged car to the building below her parents-in-law's residence so that they could indulge themselves. Over the years, the living expenses in the house for her parents-in-law were all paid by the woman, and even the down payment for her brother's wedding house was paid by her. So, in order to please the woman, the whole family had built up a successful image for her in their social circle. Once they discovered that the facade they had painstakingly built was shattered by their son's actions, they would be utterly devastated. At that time, the man, in order to save himself, would undoubtedly betray the mistress. In this way, the woman would have completed her revenge plan. The detective, after hearing the plan, thought that the woman was a bit ruthless. The woman explained that her son was only 5 years old this year. Even if she gained custody of him, her son couldn't possibly disown his father. However, her husband gave the monthly child support to the mistress. If one day they actually laid a hand on her, and she died, then her son would be left without a mother. Thinking of how much pain her son would endure in the future. Next, as the second step, she pretended to be on a business trip, to create an opportunity for her husband and the mistress to interact, so that she could then strike unexpectedly. But such a high-level trap required the man's cooperation as well, because she knew that tonight when she headed to the airport, the mistress would definitely come looking for him to have a date, hoping to get the $2 million in cash. Sure enough, not long after the woman left, the man called the mistress.